I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on factoring. In this video, we'll discuss how to factor trinomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is not equal to 1. I've taken up 6 examples here. As you can see, first two are simpler as compared to the others. We also have a cubic thing here, and we have x and y terms. And we have sometimes very big numbers to work with. So we'll see how to actually factor them very easily. Let us first talk about the concept. So if I have an equation which is ax squared plus bx plus c to be factored, then in that case, it can be factored only if, let me write down the condition here. So factorable only if we have a combination, and that is we need to find two numbers p and q where, so only if this is possible. So what is possible is to find two numbers p and q such that the product of these two numbers is same as product of a and c, right? So such that we have product of these two, right? Let's say product. So we are looking for two numbers p and q such that p times q is equal to a times c, right? So ac. So we also call this sometimes as a cross product, ac cross method. So a and c, we multiply them, we get a number, and that number should be equal to product of two numbers, some other two numbers. Now these two numbers are such that their sum is equal to b, the coefficient of x. So I actually call this method as product sum method, right? So let me use another ink here to write the name of the method. We call this as product sum method. So if you cannot get this combination, then it is not factorable. Let's put it like this, right? So I'm not using b square minus 4ac technique. We're not going there at all, right? But we can straight away see that if we get the product sum combination, you can factor, right? The other thing which I will write as a note here, shortcut, let me write shortcut. This shortcut is only to figure out whether it is factorable or not. So I'll write here, factorable only if b square minus 4ac is integer. Correct. So if b square minus 4ac is an integer, you can actually factor this. But if it is not an integer, then it becomes very difficult to factor using the technique which we are discussing. Is that clear to you? Okay. So but my take on this is that if you can find a combination that product of two numbers is same as a cross c and the sum is same as the coefficient of b, then you can factor. Is that clear? So you don't have to calculate this. That's what I'm trying to say. Ultimately, you have to factor if they are factorable, right? So we'll go with AC cross method or product sum method, as you may prefer to call, and let us see how to apply this method to factor. The very first question here is 3x squared minus x minus 10. Now we are looking for product of a and c is what? This product, right? A and c. So we are looking for two numbers whose product should be equal to 3 times minus 10, which is minus 30, and whose sum p plus q is coefficient of x, which is minus 1. Now the two numbers which we can get are 6 and 5. 6 times 5 is 30. Since we need negative, one of them is negative. The number which is bigger should be negative since the sum is negative. You understand the technique. Now the second step will be, in terms of these two numbers, we are going to split x. Right? So that is how it has to be applied. So we can now write 3x squared minus x minus 10 as equal to 3x squared. So minus x is written in terms with these two numbers, minus 6x plus 5x. So you split it and you get 4 terms instead of trinomial, right? So we split the center coefficient b in two parts, combination of minus 6 and 5. Now we'll group factor and then find the answer. So these are the steps involved. So the group factoring, 3x is common here, we get x minus 2, plus 5 is common, we get x minus 2. And now x minus 2 is common between these two terms, so we get 3x plus 5 as the factored form. So that becomes our answer. Is that clear? So again, the steps involved, as you can see here, is find P and Q. That is the first thing, right? And then the second step is split B, right? So this term. And third is group factor. So these are the 3 steps which are needed to apply product and sum method. So we call this as product sum. Okay, or AC cross method, whatever. Okay, so let's repeat this process to really understand. So we are again trying to find two numbers P and Q whose product should be 6 times 3, which is 18. And the sum of these two numbers should be 11. So the two numbers are 9 and 2. When you add them, you get 11. So we can write 6x squared plus 11x plus 3 as equal to 6x squared plus 9x plus 2x plus 3. So we got 4 terms. Now we group factor. First two, 3x is common, so we get 2x plus 3. Here, 1 is common. No need to write 1. You can write 2x plus 3. Now 2x plus 3 is a common factor. We are left with 3x plus 1. So that becomes our answer. Is that clear to you, right? Now here, sometimes you might have seen a few strategies which make the things simpler. However, they are very difficult to achieve in practice. So what we do here is, let me show you that technique here. For simple questions like this, where we have 3x squared minus x minus 10. So they show it like this. That is to say, you could write 3x squared as 3x and x, and you can split 10 as 5 times 2. But you have to think what number will go where. Since this is negative, we need a higher negative number. You can say negative 2. And then you see the factors are x minus 2, right? So that is x minus 2. And here we have 3x plus 5, right? So this is plus 5, correct? So it seems to be a very easy technique to follow. However, in practice, getting these 4 numbers is not that easy. Therefore, we will actually stick to our product sum method. Is that clear to you? And I'll actually discuss how do we easily find P and Q for product and sum now. The question now is 14x squared minus 19x minus 3. Now these numbers are slightly bigger, right? So we are now looking for product of two numbers P and Q to be 14 times 3, and there is a negative. So product will be negative. And we are looking for their sum to be equal to minus 19. So one of the numbers is positive, the other is negative. Bigger number is negative. How do we get this product and sum? Instead of multiplying, let's factor. So prime factorize. So this gives you a combination of 7 times 2. And we already have 3 here. We want 19. How can we get that? Well, this gives you the answer. 7 times 3 is 21 and 2, 19. Since we need bigger negative, we'll use this as a negative number. Perfect. So now we could write 14x squared minus 19x minus 3 as equal to 14x squared minus 21x plus 2x minus 3. Now 7 is common here, 7x. So we get 2x minus 3 plus 2x minus 3. So 2x minus 3 can be taken as a common factor, giving us 7x plus 1 as our answer. Do you see that? So finding the combination of product sum could be challenging. Using this technique, it is simpler, right? So I'm not saying very easy, it's simpler. Again, let's practice this. So we're looking for product of two numbers to be 15 times minus 32, right? And we're looking for the sum of these two numbers to be minus 28. Bigger number is negative. Okay. So 15 could be written as 5 times 3. 32 could be written as 8 times 4. Of course, one of them will be negative, right? Okay. We need 28. Now 28, how do we get that? Well, if I group this together, I get 12 and that will give me 40. And this combination will give me 28. Since we need negative answer, we'll keep this as negative. Is it okay? Does it make sense? So we have the combination as negative 40 and positive 12. So we'll split minus 28 with these two numbers. Perfect. So I could write this as 15x squared minus 40x plus 12x minus 32. And in these two, what do we have common? 5 is common with x, right? So we get 3x minus 8 plus what is common here? 4 is common, right? So 3x minus 8. Now, 3x minus 8 is common factor, and here we get 5x plus 4. So that becomes the factored form of the given trinomial. Is that clear to you? Perfect. Now here are the last two questions for you to solve. You can actually pause the video and answer these. They are slightly different from the previous, correct? Okay, so make an attempt and then look into my suggestions. Part E. 10x squared minus 33xy yx minus 7y squared. So we have variables in all the terms. Well, the technique remains same. We're looking for product of two numbers to be 10 times, well, minus 7y squared, right? So y will be involved and their sum should be equal to minus 33. Coefficient of x is 33y. So y will be involved. Do you get the idea? Okay, so we want 33y and here we want 7t. What are the two numbers? Well, let us try to figure this out. So this can be written as 2 times 5. Now 33, well, 35 and 2 can work, right? 35 and 2. So see, partial prime factorization helps to get the right answer. Do you see that? So we get the two numbers p and q as what? So we need negative, so we get negative 35 and 2. However, y should be associated with them. Then only you get sum with 33y. You get an idea, right? So we could write 10x squared minus 33xy, let me write like this, minus 7y squared as equal to 10x squared minus 35xy plus 2xy minus 7y squared. Now group factor. In the first two, 5x is common. You get 2x, and here 5 times 7 is 35. You get 7y. Now in this case, y is common. So you get 2x minus 7y. Now 2x minus 7y is common factor in the two groups. and we get 5x plus y as the second factor. Do you understand these steps, right? So that is how this type of question can be tackled. The last question here involves a cubic thing. Okay, we can take x common because x is there in all the three terms. So once I take x common, let me put a square bracket. We get 32x squared minus 20x plus 3, right? It's like a normal trinomial now. We already have x as a common factor. So I think it should not be very difficult. Why don't you try it now? Okay, so make an attempt. So we are looking for product, let me write here, product P and Q of 32 times 3, right? 32 times 3. And the sum of P and Q as minus 20. So what could be the numbers? 32 could be written as 8 times 4. We need minus 20. So we could combine this. 4, 3, 12 and this as 8, right? To get the sum as minus 20, we have to take both the numbers as negative, right? So we'll do like this. We'll write this as 32x squared minus 12x minus 8x plus 3. Is that clear to you, right? Do you see that? Now, their sum is minus 20. Product of two negative will be a positive. Okay. So, in the first, we have 4 common, right? So, 4x common. We get 4 times 8, 8x minus 3. Here we already have 8x minus 3 because we took minus 1 common. Do you see that? So minus 1 common makes this sign minus. Now we get 8x minus 3 as a common factor between these two terms, and 4x minus 1 is left. So that becomes our answer. X times 8x minus 3 times 4x minus 1. So now I hope you understand how we can also tackle trinomials which are cubic in nature, right? There could be a common factor which can be factored first. So you could do group factoring and then factor. We have also seen that if there are bigger numbers involved, we could do something like this, prime factorization, and it becomes easier to select the right numbers, right? So these are the techniques which you can apply to factor trinomials. If you cannot find two numbers which satisfy this condition, then you cannot factor. So that could be the condition, right? So all are not factorable. That is kind of important to understand. So I hope that helps you. Feel free to write a comment, share your views, and if you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for your time and all the best.